Hello friends, welcome to Read With Me. We are continuing our pumpkin book series with a book entitled Pumpkin Town. It is written by McKy and illustrated by Pablo Bernasconi. And look at this pile of pumpkins. And here's a cow sitting on top. That is silly. Let's begin. Jose and his family grew pumpkins. That growing began with shiny seeds, which were followed by long vines, and those vines grew every which way. The pumpkins grew every which way too, from small to fat and tall. There is Jose and his family. The Jack-be-littles could be dropped into pockets. Look how little they are. The Happy Jacks were bigger. And strong enough boy could carry just one. Big Moons were bigger still, too large for 5 boys to roll. Let's see, can we see 5 boys here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there might be 5 boys there trying to roll it. That would be a very large pumpkin. Come fall, Jose and his family would gather the pumpkins and collect the vines. Then 2 trucks took the fruit to faraway cities. Some were hollowed and carved, and some were saved for pies. So some were made into jack-o'-lanterns, and some were used for eating. But before the trucks took the pumpkins, Jose and his family saved a few. They needed the seeds. When it came to saving pumpkins, Jose's father always said, "Save only the best and sell the rest." So Jose and his brothers hollowed the best pumpkins and saved only the biggest, brightest seeds. They have to save the seeds so they can plant those again in the spring and grow more pumpkins to sell in the fall. Uh-oh, it looks like somebody is throwing seeds into the wind. They took the smaller seeds to the edge of the field overlooking the town and tossed them. But one gusty, dusty October day, when Jose and his brothers took the lesser seeds to the edge of the field and flung them, the wind caught those seeds and carried them and didn't let them loose until they fell like rain down on a distant town. The seeds slipped onto straw roofs and settled into flower pots and sprinkled gardens. What do you think is going to happen to those seeds in the spring? That's right, they will sprout and grow. And that seemed to be the end of it. But is it the end of it? Those seeds have been planted. But the next spring, rain awoke those small seeds and plants began. More rain fell and vines grew every which way. They wrapped around chimneys and wound through corn. At first, the townspeople liked the vines, for they were lovely and delicate. But then the vines began to climb, up and down and around, growing leafy and thick. They snaked green and silent through one window and then out another. Look, the vines are taking over the whole entire town. Look, do you think the townspeople are happy about this pumpkin vine takeover? It doesn't appear that they are. Pumpkin vines growing every which way. Then fruit grew and grew and grew every which way. Soon the townspeople were stepping over pumpkins and around pumpkins and under pumpkins. It was hard to walk even a block. Rooftops sagged under the weight of the big moons. Fences fell, and when the wind blew, one had to dodge Happy Jacks and Jack-be-littles falling from trees. "Nothing is worse than pumpkins," groaned the townspeople. Look, there's pumpkins everywhere. They are not happy about this pumpkin takeover. Uh-oh. And here's Jose, and he's looking down on the pumpkins. Meanwhile, up on their mountainside, Jose and his family cut and stacked their pumpkins, saving only the best. And when they were done, they stepped back and said, "Nothing is better than pumpkins." But when Jose and his family looked down at the town, it looked odd. It seemed so green and orange. So the townspeople think there's nothing worse than pumpkins because they are overrun by pumpkins, but Jose and his family think there's nothing better than pumpkins because that is how they make their living. Since their field work was done, and because Jose and his brothers were curious, they walked to town the next day, where they saw more vines and pumpkins than they'd ever imagined. They remembered the gusty, dusty day that they'd scattered the seeds. "It's our fault," whispered Jose. "We must do something," whispered his brothers. "We rest for now," whispered Jose. Look, I think they might feel a little bit sorry for their actions, that they threw those pumpkins and they landed in this town. But that night, Jose and his brothers cut and stacked the pumpkins and the vines. They worked as quietly as they could, but some of the townspeople still sneaked peeks. They marveled at how well the brothers worked. The brothers climbed up poles and twined through trees and snaked silent through one window and out another, gathering and stacking the pumpkins and vines. Look, they came back to help the townspeople, and here's a townsperson down here in the corner sneaking a peek at the brothers doing all this hard work to help them. When the townspeople awoke, they discovered a mountain of pumpkins and a hill of vines and a mound of tired brothers. Look, here's the tired brothers. They worked all night, so they're very tired, and now they're sleeping. And here is a stack of pumpkins and the vines and leaves. While the brothers slept, the townspeople filled a wagon with hay and set 5 great watermelons between Jose and his brothers, in thanks for their aid. That wagon took the brothers back to their home, where they laid in the glossy grass, still sleeping. Here's their father wondering what happened to them. When their father found them, he asked them what they had done to deserve the great watermelons. "We just helped the townspeople with their harvest," the brothers said, which was true, and nothing more was said. Look at all the trucks of pumpkins. Down in the town, 5 trucks for the mountain of pumpkins, and the townspeople were given a grand sum of money for all that fruit. "Ah, nothing is better than pumpkins," they said. Now they've just changed their minds and they've decided they like pumpkins because they earned some money. Much of the money went toward a feast held around a bonfire made by burning the hill of vines. It was decided then that the rest of the pumpkin money would be spent to carve a statue of the 5 mysterious brothers who had made a mound of pumpkins. The brothers are going to eat the watermelon. It took all of the next week for the townspeople to repair their roofs and their fences, and it took all of that week for Jose and his brothers and his father to eat their great gifts. The melons were so sweet that Jose and his family said, "Nothing is better than watermelons." Do you think they might start growing watermelons instead of pumpkins? I don't know. "Be careful with the seeds," Jose's father said. "Our field grows pumpkins, not watermelons." So Jose's family filled a great bowl with seeds, and those seeds were forgotten until a day later, when the wind roused Jose's father at night. He feared that some of those watermelon seeds might be blown into their field. Oh, he doesn't want to grow watermelons. He says his field will only grow pumpkins. And it looks like the wind is lifting the seeds away. By moonlight, he carried the bowl to the edge of his field and he tossed the seeds. The wind caught those seeds and carried them and didn't let them loose until they fell like rain down on the town. Oh no, what is going to happen to those watermelon seeds next spring? Will they sprout and grow into watermelons, and now the town will be covered in watermelons? Here come the seeds, and here's the statue the townspeople made for the boys. The watermelon seeds slipped into straw roofs and settled into flower pots and sprinkled gardens and slid into the soil around the statue of Jose and his brothers. And that seemed to be the end of it. Do you think that's the end of it? I doubt it. Look, I think it might be Watermelon Town now. I hope you enjoyed this book. Please consider subscribing